it meant anything goes. Anyone could die, anyone could fall in love, anyone could die, anyone could fall in love, anyone could die, anyone could die.
Ancient apocalypse.
Concept was so cool.
Ancient apocalypse.
Concept was so cool.
People couldn't believe it. They had to believe it. People couldn't believe it. They had to believe it.
Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window. Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window. Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast that is drawn on dark paper. So we can't really make out what's happening in it. It's so dark in here, Gary.
Yeah, it is a hard to follow podcast. People listen to this, we're talking about Generation Next. People who know me know that I am a Chris Bacallo defender. I was thinking about how much I wonder if this issue specifically, because I think that the darkness is probably a big contributing factor to this, has to do with the really bold inking that is going on here.
Yeah.
It might be an over-inking issue.
It definitely feels
but it could
that
also
way.
just be some bad plotting, and who even knows? This could be just rough stuff. This is kind of a nothing issue. Generation X is the other pretty self-contained kind of series here. I mean, I guess Excalibur is as well. But this takes place in a part away from all the rest of the X-Men, in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, they got a Temple of Doom mine going on.
I mean, when your boss is named Apocalypse, he's going to have a Temple of Doom somewhere. Like, I think it comes with, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you were 13, somebody just mailed you a copy of the Black Album. Like, when you name yourself Apocalypse, get a Temple of Doom. Like, that just happens.
Yeah. Yep. And you get a henchman named Sugarman and a henchman named Quietus, who looks like Slash.
Are those not the same people?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Sugarman and Quietus are very different. Quietus dies in this issue. Sugarman made his way over to the 616 universe, my friend.
Oh, good.
Sugarman exists in real life.
So glad that we get to talk about these definitely two discrete characters that are not the same.
Here's the thing, man, is maybe we'll get to talk about, first of all, Brayton talks about the Sugarman a lot. Me and Cole covered X-Men Legends 2, which the Sugarman is a prominent villain. The Sugarman made his way into 616 X-Men, which is what we cover on this podcast generally. This is the third appearance of the Sugarman on the network, and there may be more in the future on this very show. Like, you might not be out of the Sugar Woods. As far as we know, that could be the villain of the Wolverine podcast. Like, it's him like hunting through the lonely forest of Canada, and then it's like, yeah, I'm the Sugar Man. Like, pops up because he's got a New York accent in the video game.
I hope they hired the guy that I can never remember the actor's name, but the guy that voices Dr. Venture to play Sugar Man, because I feel like that's
James Urbaniak.
James Urbaniak, thank you. Yeah,
I kept thinking of Anton Sugarman from No Country for Sugar Man.
No Country for Sugar Man. That's amazing that this is the third appearance of Sugar Man, and now I'm curious if there's like a Sugar Man item in the Binding of Isaac somewhere or something that you could at least bring it up once. Like, you got to get it on every show.
Yeah, it's got to show up on Gummy.
Yeah.
It's hard because Will has a hard time following me with my X-Men stuff, even though he's read like the TV tropes pages for most of the X-Men shit.
That motherfucker, dude.
He still has the sustain for it, and it's like, you're the one who's reading the TV tropes for the thing you're not interested in, man.
Every time that dude says, I haven't seen it, but I've read the Wikipedia page or read the TV tropes article on it, no matter what it is, I'm like, I just like have to stop my car and stare at the thing for a little while. And I'm like, God damn it, Will
Hughes.
Thing.
It's totally his thing. It's like his favorite thing in the world.
Just consume the thing. Like, just do it.
Have you seen him when he's been on Twitter where he's been like,
like
I'm
waiting
real
with
mad
bated
because this
breath.
movie just came out.
Yeah. Dude. Oh
like
my
a movie
God.
just came out. He's like, I don't want to see it, but I'm mad because nobody's done a Wikipedia on it yet. What the fuck, dude?
You guys make fun of Cole for having not listened to everything to Guppy, and we make fun of Will on this podcast
for a lot of reasons,
but because he doesn't really listen to Days of Future Cast. So, like, now I'm curious what podcast on the Duckfeed network that I don't listen to that you're on, where you're making fun of me. Look at how I'm concerned.
No, you hear it. Like you come up in Guppy every once in a while.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That's the thing. So, and then Bonfireside Chat, you already put in your time.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that whole thing?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's classic.
What was the, you called me
We were
something.
beefing.
Yeah, we were beefing for a while, but
I can't remember the beef because you were making fun of my dear departed roars. Which,
not
is in
departed.
pretty bad taste.
Not departed at the time. Cat was fine. Cat was okay, right? It was open fucking season on the cat when the cat's not dead. Cat doesn't have real feelings. Not really. I'm just joking.
Whoa.
that got a little too real. My bad.
Julius, are you okay? You can hear me meow twice.
Julius is happy in his outside house. He is happy as a fucking clam.
What is that a metaphor for?
It's not. We built him an outside house, dog.
I know. I'm just joking about. I can't remember what I called you during Bonfireside Chat, but that was you put in your beef time.
Yeah, it was my Twitter profile. It was my bio for a little while, whatever it was. So, yeah.
It was all in good sport, folks.
Yes.
Comedy Week. Generation Next. The cover of this is a man named Quietus, who again looks like Circus Slash.
Yeah, I'm here for
holding
Circus
a
Slash.
tiny pistol up to Husk.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some real wild psychedelic hair going on.
And we open up the issue with these two young girls. There's a dark-haired and a blonde girl. The dark-haired girl is saying, Yana, I'm cold and I'm hungry. So the blonde-haired girl is obviously Ilyana.
This is Ilyana.
And if you want to talk about over-inking, like, why does her hair have, like, it looks like she has highlights in her hair, like that, because the shadows are so thick. Like, I feel like you really nailed it with the over-inking, because it's just this issue is so fucking dark.
Yeah, it's really hard to kind of get. It's a real weird thing too. So they're building up the Sugar Man. The issue is called like Enter the Sugar Man or something like that. Here cometh the Sugar Man. The Sugar Man only appears in silhouette in this issue. We don't get Sugar Man action until next issue. And when you see Sugar Man, he's just like a big head with arms and legs. It's like, what if you took away a torso and replaced all the torso with face? He's not a scary or intimidating villain. It's a lot of build up for Sugar Man.
Weird.
And this is basically, again, it's like a Temple of Doom work camp.
Yes.
This is where electricity is provided for Apocalypse's empire.
Mm-hmm.
And Ilyana's kind of giving this new fish, who's named Ace, the dark-haired girl, the rules. Like, we don't build a fire, we don't eat until after he's gone, because he can smell food on your breath. And we see the Sugar Man tromping around, sniffing, and he finds somebody else and takes somebody else with him, kind of making goblin noises.
I like this long shot of like where they're at. Like it looks like kind of a Temple of Doom, like the Pit of Mordor kind of situation. And like somebody has spray painted "God Save Us" and "Abandon All Hope," and then someone else has just done the X-Men.
Yeah, it's great graffiti. Man, if this was not the momentous time in history where graffiti has more power than it usually would, I would definitely tag something the X-Men, and I wouldn't even care if I got caught, because it's a very funny thing to, like, what are you in for?
Yeah, and not the logo.
I wrote the X-Men on the side of a building. I'm just a big fan. It's really good graffiti. The X-Men.
I also don't quite like if the Sugar Man's whole deal is like he goes around like eating people. Like, aren't the people the ones working to provide power to the thing? Like the economy here is very confusing to me, and it doesn't matter. I don't really care. But.
Yeah. Well, that's true of all of Apocalypse's like subsidiaries.
Sure, yeah.
Like that's true of the people in Factor X as well, who they just give to Beast to turn into soup whenever they want. You know, they're like slaves. They're doing stuff. You know, so it's Apocalypse is not great at human resources.
Yes. We go over to the Apoc shuttle.
The Apoc shuttle.
Yeah.
I love the Apoc shuttle. And we get this little conversation. The Apoc shuttle is being driven by Skin. And there are two humans who did a bunch of killing. Like these are like trustees. You know, these are human enforcers hired by Apocalypse as kind of traitors.
Yes.
You know, talking about how, you know, they feel kind of bad, but they get, you know, job security. They get to sleep on an actual bed. They get an all night pass to a club. You know, this is what it is if you're like a traitor, you know, to the cause. And the Chamber is in the thing with him. One of them asks for a light. And he's like, I can give you a light. And he uses his chamber powers to destroy these two dudes.
Yeah.
And they're going to steal their uniforms.
these dudes like also have this conversation of like, are we the bads? Like, are you?
Yeah.
Are we? But it doesn't matter because they're immediately like murdered, so we don't care.
Yep.
And yeah, this is their
Just
plan
guys.
is to infiltrate this thing. We didn't really talk about it, but like Magneto gave these people a mission to find Ileana because she is a latent time traveling mutant, and he's going to need her to fix the timeline.
Yep. So they go through because they're kind of infiltrating on multiple ways. That is how Skin and Chamber are infiltrating. Colossus and Shadowcat are going in the back, and we get this internal monologue from Colossus talking about finding his sister. In the Seattle core, which is the energy for all America. And it's a pretty cool visual. It's like gigantic, like tower in front of the moon. That's like lit up.
Yeah.
And, they're making their way in. There's a weird little, kind of back and forth between him and, Shadowcat, who up until this point has just been shown to be a psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird that she's not entirely, during this part. She's kind of talkative and more, a little lighter.
I can't look at this panel without looking in the background and seeing Colossus wearing overalls and then a belt.
Yeah, that's how he's sneaking in.
That's
like he's just,
but he's Colossus. Yep. Like,
yeah,
you can't.
He's still Colossus.
You can't like. I mean, 3 kids in a fucking trench coat would have a better chance of getting in. But this is a man made of metal. Like, they probably don't have any of those in here. Like, it's just it's ridiculous, Gary.
All the kids do a good job of sneaking in. Colossus does not.
Yeah.
As they're kind of going back and forth, and Colossus is noting that like Shadowcat doesn't want him to rescue his sister here. So that's like kind of their subplot. She goes silent and he goes back to check on her, and she's been taken by something called the Undercloaks. No idea what the fuck these things are. It's like they're the filthy little ferrets scurrying on the fringes of Sugar Man's defense perimeters. But the art in this panel where Colossus comes back, like what's happening?
What is going on? Yeah, Colossus picks up a giant rock. The shadow creature or whatever like looks like it's like merged into Kitty for some reason. Like it just everything just looks super fucking weird. Like it's like he's even got a weird voice bubble with like the blue and the white text on it. Like it's just very very weird.
Yeah, the Undercloaks don't get a lot of time in this.
No,
But
again, there's an Undercloak fan out there that's losing his fucking mind.
Yep. The next panel, we get introduced to Quietus, who is our guy who looks like Slash, who's standing in a bubble bath getting bathed by Husk.
Yes.
And he kind of speaks like a caveman. He usually has like a human consort every night to bathe them and presumably have sex with them. And in the bottom in the middle, in the panel of page looking to the left, that's an Autumn Greer-ass smile. Like, I feel like there are pictures of Autumn that look just like that.
Oh, the one where, what's his name is walking off. Is that what you mean? The middle one? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a big Autumn smile, like huge Autumn energy to that smile. Like, just like, oh shit. Like, it's Autumn.
Yeah. This whole situation is kind of weird where she's really laying on the thick accent and is like, oh, your regular girl is sick, but I could take care of you, honey. And that kind of thing. And it's real weird, real bad.
Yeah. The whole thing is very strange. I presume this is the club or whatever they were talking about. I kind of like this plan. Like, I like what they do here, with this guy, but this guy is just so fucking silly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Quietus, the big mobster Slash from Guns N' Roses guy.
Fucking dude. I mean, like, Xavier dies and Slash doesn't meet Axel. And
Slash is a mutant now. So
Gary, in this universe, November Rain doesn't exist, and little Jeremy has a problem. He doesn't know how to get out any of his emotions in front of his mirror singing it in a hairbrush. What is he going to do?
Bring him back. So he's being gross. He like kisses Paige. He's basically saying like, I have wants and needs and desires. Real gross. As Paige is doing her kind of trick here. When he goes through, he hits her with something or touches her with something that causes like coughing and gagging in mutants.
Yes.
This vaporizer. He says like, this vaporizer makes mutants sick. It doesn't do it to me. And it's how I detect mutant spies.
Yeah. You got to hit this vape if you want to hit this dick, is what he says to her.
Exactly. Yeah. Like basically trying to get a cop to do a hit a crack here. And he, he's like, you disgust me, like you're mutant on the outside, human on the inside. and starts flexing. He starts talking about how he's gonna be a sadist and like break her overnight. Real gross shit. And he reaches for this drink of this booze, and she says, "Don't do that. It was my mother's." And he does it because he's a sadist. He drinks it, and then we find out this was actually Vicente in liquid form. He's about to kill her, and then he bubbles up and bursts from the inside out.
I
because he drank a mutant.
So many things here, Gary. We need to talk about like the Jane Fonda and Elvis blacklight posters in the background of several of these frames. Very fucking weird. Like, what is going on here? What is your decor, my friend? And then don't drink that. I brought that flask because it was my mother's. That's my mother's whiskey? Is that the
I don't know what that means. And also, like, she's a spy.
Yeah. Why would you drink anything?
Like you were just saying,
has?
Like you're, I mean, and he doesn't seem like he's particularly smart, Quietus here. But it is real silly.
Super fucking weird.
And she spills the beans. She says she's an X-Man because she knows it doesn't matter, because he'll die. He starts trying to get that information from her, and then, he explodes.
Yes.
From the inside out. Because of Vicente, who I think is either a later Generation X character or was made up for Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah. So their plan is to go through Quietus's files to find information on Ileana, which Paige doesn't really think is going to work, and also Vicente also doesn't think it's going to work. Like neither one of them are really like super stoked on this whole plan. So
yeah, I kind of like the characterization of Vicente here, where he's like, "Do you honestly believe that?" And he's like, "Honestly, no, but dishonestly,
sure. Yeah, I'll say anything.
What else are we gonna fucking do? Vicente can turn into different elements. So in the first issue, he was made of gas. Now he's liquid form, so he can change in those, switch between matter states. So they go find. We switch over to Mondo, who can dive into things and become them. He grabs a worker from off the side, absorbs him as Quietus comes by, but this is not Quietus. This is Paige Guthrie taking the form of Quietus, and then because he needed extra mass, Vicente is inside, filling out the mass to make him as big as Quietus. It's confusing and silly.
It's way over confusing, and like they have to pretend to be Quietist in front of like they're gonna go and try to find people in this line and like interact with employees and things, and
specifically to find Skin and Chamber, so they can all get together on the inside. Like I like how caper, how heisty this is, but it's just it's real Quietus. Why would you have a different voice? Like you call somebody dumpling.
That's why my voice is so high. I've got a cough.
yeah. It's like, how about a little enthusiasm here, dumpling? Mr. Quietus, sir. That's me. I'd like to think so. You've got the Huell Hauser accent. You can't be Quietus.
Yeah. And who are these guys that are like, I'm concentrating and shoot something at them? What is this?
That's Chamber and Skin. Skin shoots two of his little skin thwips to get Quietus's attention because he probably recognizes Paige's voice. So that's what that is supposed to be. And I don't blame you for not knowing it because it's not well story told.
I guess I could have figured that out with the voice bubbles, because it's like Skin has the unique voice bubble or whatever, and he's like I guess he's pulling a prank, Gary. In the middle of the heist, he's pulling a prank. There's always one guy.
Is in the upper right panel, is that a little pile of slime or a little tiny happy frog on the floor?
That's a super happy frog on the floor. Look at that.
Yeah,
that
he's having a good time.
So happy, man. That dude feeds off of whatever weird, shit they produce as waste.
Quietus squeezing.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
It's
he feeds on Quietus filth. It's so gross.
Yeah. And then the to me the most confusing, page of the book actually, they have to, down in the mines, the kids are called to work. The German guys get a move on, go to the hollow. All right, the hard way it is then. And then he pukes water, or water gets shot into his mouth. Well, he's a splorch sound effect, but you can't tell the direction it's going.
Well, it hits Ileana, and then she's wet on the next scene. So I guess it's coming from him. And also he has a trident. So is he a merman? He is some kind of merman, like a fat merman. He looks like Hugger, like the bear hugger from the Wii Punch Out game. Almost exactly, actually.
And then everything's fine now. Like somebody's like, "Is it safe, Yana?" And she's like, "Yeah, safe as it gets." Did you just deal with Water Puker? Like, what interface action did you have with Water Puker that you are now safe?
Yeah, like did he just
who is who in this fucking thing?
Also, like, imagine like your superpower is making people like wet and not in the sexy way, right? Like you could just
No.
your superpower is being a super soaker. That's what you got.
You super soaker man. Like you can dampen your enemies. You know that's not that intense.
Unless you're a cop in Atlanta.
Yeah, and then you want to dampen your enemies. Comedy week.
Bazinga.
And bazinga. Awooga. That's the issue.
That's it.
And it ends with a little thing where it's like, this was the fun issue. Next issue, things get real bad. I remember this comic getting pretty dark. I don't remember this issue at all though, because like almost nothing happens. They sneak in, but it's like, it's not particularly sensible. And since it splits over 4 groups doing something simultaneously, it feels like almost no time has passed in the game.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
not in the game. I'm sorry, in the plot.
I know what you meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like again, just the over inking and like the general darkness of it doesn't make a lot of sense. None of these villains are particularly well like established at all, so I don't feel any kind of threat. The sneaky part is not well communicated, so like I don't know what the fuck that they're doing here. Like did they get the information? Did they not get the information? Like what is going on? Why is there a frog there? Definitely need to know more about that. What is with the black light posters? Got to have more information about that. So yeah, like this is just real confusing, even though in general, I was super excited to see a version of Ileana because I couldn't really remember anything about her in Age of Apocalypse. So I'm hoping as we go along, we'll get like super cool Ileana stuff.
Yeah. This, we get some Sugar Man, which I know you love.
Dude, I have long been saying that we need more Sugar Man content, not only on the podcast, but on the network. Like, I think we need to get honestly, Gary, the next like Duck Bundle, all Sugar Man content. Every single podcast talking about Sugar Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Games of Sugar Man, books of Stephen King books about Sugar Man. I sent you some modern Sugar Man sugar in the Discord there.
Oh God.
He shows up in other stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
That is not what I would call a Sugar Man. That's a different.
Yep. There's an X-Men baby version of Sugar Man.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sugar Man would make a pretty good Mortal Kombat character.
He looks very Mortal Kombat. We just talked about Mortal Kombat and Abject Suffering, where they have that centaur.
Yeah. What
fucking
the fuck
Motaro.
is up with that centaur, man?
Yeah, it's good shit.
I didn't read the article. I just kind of skimmed it. But there was some dog shit like these people should be in Mortal Kombat, and one of the suggestions was Ross from Friends. And I just was like, I cannot do this. It's 2020. The world is on fire. Everybody is sick.
I cannot countenance this shit. I watched one of those, man. Speaking of cannot watch, when one of my least favorite meme formats right now is the scene from Avengers Endgame where like everybody comes to rescue Captain America, and the Thanos is Trump.
Oh,
and there's one of those with all of the Democratic candidates for president. Super nauseating. And now there's a Black Lives Matter one.
I saw that this morning. Yeah, with Batman and the Joker show up and like.
That took a year off my fucking life. I was like, I hate this. And like reading the replies and everyone just being like, epic, for the win. Cheeto, the commander and Cheeto won't like seeing this. And I lost my mind.
Who was what was the one that I cracked up with? It was the Waspian lawyers, just lawyers, like all lawyers.
Yeah, one of them's just lawyers. There's also specifically they have all of the sorcerers who are Asian as like white allies or something. No, it wasn't the K-pop stands, I don't think. It was something specifically not like people of color. It was like people of color allies or something. It was real wild.
Oh no, it was white. It was white people using their privilege as a shield. That's what it was.
Yes. Yeah. So all of the Asian sorcerers are white people using their privilege as a shield.
And the K-pop stands were all of the Wakanda guys. Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. Yeah. It's they knew enough not to make the Wakanda guys, white people using their privilege as a shield, because I wouldn't even know where to begin with that take. But yeah, that whole video for Marvel MCU related content, that is the worst thing the MCU has ever done or been a part of. I don't care how much people hate Thor 2, like that little clip is the worst thing that's come out of the MCU.
I went to send that to Autumn this morning, and whoever put it on Twitter had taken it down or made the content private. I guess they were getting too many replies from it. So
yeah, good.
Yeah,
cyberbully them shits. Don't do it.
If you don't like cyberbullying, you should come to Duckfest 2. It's an electric. It's an electric typewriter. So you boot up your word processor, type in Duckfest 2, and you're transported.
Put us on your Newton.
Put us on your Newton.
Palm Pilot us, Daddy.
Put us on your Newton. It sounds so fucking dirty, Gary. It's so bad.
Here comes Scootin' Newton. Join us for Virtual Duckfest. It'll be really fun. Weekend of the 27th. Live shows, live events.
Yes.
Raising money for Black Lives Matter related causes,
yes,
and ending police brutality. Or trying to. Or defunding the police, or doing something.
Raising money for organizations whose goals are to end police brutality. Like, I think that's probably the best way to say that. We're gonna be doing some Days of Future Cast content. Gary and I are gonna be talking about the Wolverine podcast that Marvel produced several years ago. There's also gonna be some Gambit stuff. Me and my buddy Chris will be doing some. We haven't really decided if it's gonna be emojis or supernatural something yet, but we'll figure that out when the time comes. So, and just tons and tons of content. It's going to be the 27th and 28th. So please go check all that out. Log on.
We'll have a website up for it shortly, so you can watch. Of course, there'll be technical problems because it's a live streamed event. All of the times people have done that, but we're going to do our best.
Yes.
And it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. And I think that's probably about it.
Yeah. See you later, everybody.
Reading reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Put us on your Newton.
Put us on your Newton.